Yeah, well, I'm really glad that you brought this up. Raul Ibanez said something at the press conference last Friday that I've been thinking about. He said that it's baseball's hope that limiting the shift will change hitters' approach. Um, Ground balls are going to be hits again, right? And they think maybe hitters will then decide they don't have to try to lift every ball over all those infielders, and maybe they'll go back to trying to hit more line drives and hard ground balls. So, do you think that will happen? What will the cause and effect be?
Well, the one thing I noticed when I came up was how so I felt like command was a priority, deception was a priority, sink, cut, run, uh, you know, in out of the strike zone, out in the strike zone. I felt like though that was the language that was uh, much more common when I first came up, and now the style is very powerful. Spin, velocity, strikeout, a hard break, maximizing the break on your breaking pitches, swings and misses. This is the language that I feel like is much more common now. You get paid based on strikeouts. You get paid based on decreasing walks, limiting contact. And so the hitters, it's really hard to match. In the minor leagues, we used to play pepper, um, a concentration, a focus on contact, spread the ball out, hit the ball on the ground. If you've got someone like just firing like 100-mile-an-hour fastballs in there, it's really hard to not match power with power. And so I feel at times that it'll be probably a hybrid version of today's game where there is a real emphasis on smashing the ball. But I do think we'll see a decrease in strikeouts. I do think we'll see a decrease in walks. I think we'll see more balls in play, but we're already seeing that. So I just think that the skill will continue to evolve. Guys will just get better. We're already seeing them get better. And then when you get that base hit through a hole and you see a base hit go up the middle on a ground ball, you hitters will probably shift their style to, you know what, I may gear down one and know that if I hit the ball well, there's probably a hit out there for me. So what you're describing earlier may be a reality, but it's always going to be countered, I feel like. And we'll see if pitchers change. We'll see if pitching styles change. So I can't answer that question. I'm just going off of what it's like to face today's pitchers. And you have to answer power with power. The very best hitters in the game. And this is who we walk through, through the metal detectors for and bring our little QR code tickets for. They're powerful. We don't have any Tony Gwynns. We don't have any, we've got very few guys that appeal to the crowd with high contact, hit the hole, look at that skill. Most of our guys, our big name guys, are about to break, a version of a home run record. They're going to, pitch and hit. They're going to, play the outfield for the Atlanta Braves. They're going to, play center field for the Anaheim Angels. And these are all 600 slug guys. These are all big, powerful guys. I can't think of very many guys that don't do powerful things with the bat, that are stars nowadays.
Well, Joe, within that, you mentioned relativity. Do you ever, have in your mind about kind of what it should look like? Like what is that best version of that dynamic, that relationship between shifting and these rules? Because, yes, you are competing against each other relatively, but there's an absolute about like, sort of a pure form of the game. Do you ever think about what that is or what it could be? I mean, is it just bad for the game in general? Or, what's your global thought on that?
It's fun cheering for a hit. Oftentimes we don't put music immediately after contact. You make contact and there isn't some sort of like, I'm walking, I'm walking.
Right.
Like it happens immediately after a tough walk at bat. And I don't know if there's a like, wow, like a crowd surge, a moment where there's excitement post walk. There's a groan after a hit by pitch, but people don't understand. Oh, that's really good. That's just a tear under a hit. That reaction doesn't occur.
Yeah.
Um, but there's a loud cheer after a ground ball or sliding RBI moment or a sac fly moment. So we have to respect the fan and sure, teams listen. The best teams are the ones that get on base the most offensively. There's no question about that. And good offenses win championships, or at least make it to the playoffs. So we have to respect that. And those come with lots and lots of walks. I mean, the Yankees were the perfect example in the 90s. If I'm not mistaken, they were a really strong, consistent, tough out team. And now it's much more common for teams to chase those players. But, hits are fun. Hits are fun, and seeing a player, slide into second base after a wrap double or ground ball down the line and there's a bang bang play at third base. This is a byproduct of balls in play. And so to me, I watch, I liken the home runs, walks, and strikeouts to the 3-point surge in basketball, where it felt like every game we got to watch, a kick out to a corner three. And well, free, but really, if you watch the finals, and the Warriors are an all-time great 3-point shooting team, but their style of play was so beautiful. Cuts to the basket, finishes around the basket, the occasional post play. It looked like the 3-point was complementing their beautiful style, and I feel like that's what the best teams now, the Braves, the Los Angeles Dodgers. I feel like those are the teams that are just so appealing to watch, because you get to watch a shortstop hit 300. You get to watch Mookie Betts, who's like a gem to watch, hit home runs, hit balls in the gap. To me, balls in play are a good thing. You get to show the athleticism of the defenders off, and the crowd gets to cheer immediately after a hit. A hit is, quite a pretty what's the word? It transcends all languages. Everyone understands a hit.
Yeah, I mean, one example I mentioned from time to time is I was watching a Denver Nuggets game, and they had like a 3-on-1 with time running out, and they were down by 2.
I know.
And they you know where it's going, and they doubled Murray. I think the one guy kind of came from behind, so Murray threw a cross court to the corner 3. The guy kind of bobbled it, and instead of driving to tie the game, he backed up to the 3-point line and shot and missed in the game, and they lost by 2. So that's the first thing that comes to mind. And like when you prioritize something, like the outcome so much, then like you said, well, the trade-off sometime of taking a lot of pitches or what, you might strike out more or whatever it is. I'm curious to, think about like how does that example sort of tie to what you're saying? Like when you prioritize it so much, what do you think baseball loses?
I don't know. I was guilty of it for a while. I mean, most of my career involved getting on base, and I had a lot of detractors. And I think with some distance, I get it. But not to make this question about me, but I'll answer from my own experience. I did it because it was home runs and hits are really hard to get. And so my best version was kind of a hybrid, getting on base, getting some hits, making the best of every at bat. So that worked for me. I think that because it's been a league-wide trend, everybody's bought into getting deep, and not everybody, I don't want to generalize, but the zeitgeist was take pitches and walks, and strikeouts come with it, and homers, and I think in that situation that you're describing with the Denver Nuggets, I'm a basketball fan, and I've been a basketball player since I was like 9 years old. I love the sport. It's my first love. It's the first thing I want to do once I'm done playing is start playing basketball again. And so in that situation, it's a 3-man weave in practice. It's a layup finish. It's a behind the back pass to a dunk. And it's just like, I remember practicing with my team as a high school player. If you took a 3 in that situation, immediate bench. And it's like, when I first started playing baseball, it was, why are you taking so many pitches? Why are you taking that fringe pitch on the edge? Take a swing, put the ball in play. Don't strike out looking. And I don't think it's either answer, but I do think we're about to approach a really fun version of our sport, where it's more athletic, where there's more balls in play, where we get to see the athleticism of certainly the infielders and the outfielders. I think it's, we have a great sport, and I think we're about to showcase it at its very best, because it's probably been as athletic as it's ever been. But when Ronald Acuna is in right field and the third baseman is standing right in front of him, instead of seeing a diving play from him, it's a one hopper to the third baseman who throws out Freddie Freeman on a 112 rocket, and he's like,
right, exactly.
And the fans are like, ugh. Instead of like some awesome play from Acuna and the interaction sort of thing. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
I want to ask you about the pitch clock too. Basketball has the shot clock. Back before there was a shot clock, the great Dean Smith, Hall of Fame coach, his teams would get the lead, and then they would stop playing. They just throw the ball around and go to that 4 corners thing. And in order to have a more entertaining game, a faster game, a better rhythm to a game, basketball went to a shot clock. And now baseball is going to a pitch clock. And, you're actually one of the more deliberate hitters in the game between each pitch.
In what way?
I think you're about 18 and a half seconds per pitch now with no one on base. The clock's going to force you and everybody to change that, right?
I promise you, I only take what's given to me. If it's at a 10-second clock, it doesn't move. It doesn't affect me at all. I will stand there. I can stand in the box and hit post swing and then get back. And I don't need the time. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that'll be everybody. Everybody will have to do that.
I was in so much pain every single at bat. I was like, oh my goodness. But no. Finish your thoughts. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. Well, I don't know that everybody is going to adjust so simply, so easily. The hitter with no one on base has to be in the box, locked in on the pitcher, 7 seconds after that clock starts to tick. How much impact do you think that will have on hitters?
I don't think I think in the short term, some. In the long term, it'll become second nature. So that's really all that matters. Right. We have to improve the pace of the game. We have to improve the pace. I used to go to Raptors games in Toronto, the team in Toronto, and I had season tickets. And the GO train's in the center of the city. The train is in the center of the city. It's called the GO train, and it takes you to whatever neighborhood. You could take the TTC, which is the downtown metro. And I would sit in my seat and I'd look up at the clock, and it would be 7:30, and I knew that at 10 p.m. I was going to leave my seat. If there was overtime, it may be 10:15, but that's extra basketball. That's usually fun, a good reason to stay. But I knew that if finished in regulation, no matter the timeouts, no matter the score, no matter what, I was leaving at 10 o'clock. 2.5 hours. They asked me to stay and be entertained and for 2.5 hours. So that meant I could take a peek at the GO train schedule. I could take a peek at the TTC schedule, and I needed to hustle a little bit to make this train, or I could pace myself to make this, metro or whatever it was, depending on which direction I was going. If you're a fan at home and you've got kids, or you have school the next day, or if you have whatever it is, you don't know if our game's going to end at 9:45 or 11:45. And there's some charm to that. But if we're asking every single night, the fan at home, every single night, to stay up till 10:30, to stay up till 10:45 on a standard issue 9-inning win, we're asking more than we asked of them 12 years ago. And it's changed substantially. So to me, as far as comfort, we're here to serve. we are players here to serve. And I understand there has to be like, I do get, you have to respect respect the player and it's his process, and respect, their players need a tempo, but tempos can be adjusted. We are capable. We are capable to make this adjustment and still perform well. And so I love it. I love that there's going to be a pitch clock. There will be some growing pains, no question about it. There will be some, but we're watching the pitchers walk off the field and have the umpires interact with them. They give up 7 runs, or they strike out the side on 9 pitches. They still have to interact with the umpire. That's a challenge to them, but they've adapted. They've accepted it. They can go in some, la la land where they just basically make contact with the umpire. The same thing will happen with the pitch clock, and the fan benefits from it. The fan knows today's game is going to be done in 2 hours and 40 minutes. I think it's wonderful. I wish that it had been instituted throughout my career, to be honest with you, because I feel like I've played an additional 50 games over the last years with how long these games have been. I mean, the change has been like significant. So.
Yeah, no. So if you look at, there's a bunch of rules we're talking about. Is there anything you think the league or the fans are missing? Like if you could circle something and say, you know what, this would make a better game. This would be a good move to make for this game to really be entertaining and sustainable.
I love what they did with the baseball this year. I thought the home runs were getting out of hand. So I'm happy they changed that. I think my last check, home runs were at like 1.07 per game, I think. And last year and the year before were somewhere around 1.25 to 1.4, somewhere in that range. 1.3.
Yeah, we're back in the range of like 2015, 2016, as opposed to where we were.
I think 16 was like 1.2. And then
2015 is probably more
close
like
to
it,
15. Yeah. But my understanding is there was a ball change mid 2015. So like,
right.
I think we're starting to creep more towards like a nice place to be. But we also with the shift change may see a dip down below 1, with players deciding, as opposed to attempting a home run, I'm going to take line drive shots because I'm going to go 3 for 4 today instead of 1 for 4 with a home run after 4 home run attempts. What we as hitters, we go where we get fed. And so I would guess we're going to see a home run dip again, which is fine. I mean, the game will have more hits, and we'll start seeing guys hit 350 and lots of guys hit, 280 and above, and then more hits and more balls in play. I think it's a great thing. So, as far as changes, I love the base. I love that they're changing the base, and we haven't touched on that, but anything to make the game more athletic, seeing guys attempt stolen bases or attempt first to thirds. I love it because I think that with extra, those few inches, all of a sudden you're choosing the faster guy as opposed to the home run guy, sort of thing. And so I think that I love the base. I've used the base on a rehab, and I think it's fun. I think it's fun. I don't know. I think they may have instituted, for safety reasons, but I think it may make the game faster. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, there's another element to the pitch clock rule, the part that says the pitcher can't throw to first or step off more than twice per plate appearance, or that third time it's a balk if the runner isn't out. So, hey, yeah, this is well, you probably saw this in your rehab option too, but I mean, this is the rate of base stealing attempts in the minor leagues is almost 3 per game. We haven't seen that in the big leagues in 100 years. So you could steal 40 bases next year, man, if you play this right.
Little changes like this are the reason why I've got maybe 1, 2, 3 years left, maybe 2 years left. I'm going to get slowed out of the game. So I'm happy to hand it off to the next group.